Beefy Boys Breakdown, episode 130. We had a fire-ass fight night card to recap with you. UFC Fight Night Rozenstruik Almeida. I guess this is also being called UFC on ABC 4, which probably explains why it was so gassed. I'll say probably less gas than previous ABC cards, would you say?
Okay, I'm so
But
glad you bring that up and lead off with that, man, because that's like the major selling point of this card. I mean, I put it in the description. Didn't even tell you that, so it is obviously like the biggest takeaway from this card, right? Is that it's an ABC card. Like that's very very rare for the UFC to be
yeah,
on ABC. The last time I believe it was Cater and Holloway, so it's like
yeah, that's
usually
right.
we get like ultra gas, essentially would be pay per view fights, but like the UFC knows like we got to build our name. So here is pay per view fights for free.
Yeah, yeah, no, and this was just a really good fight night. It wasn't
Yeah,
like a like
this was not
which
that card.
super enjoyable to watch though. Like that aside, like it like compared to some of the Apex cards and stuff. I mean, so fun, and it was high level. And I mean, I've been on the Almeida train. We both have, right, as a
Oh
show.
yeah,
And so like to see Almeida get strategically put in the spotlight headline position. I mean, I know we were hyped for it probably more than a lot of people were.
I mean, bro, the amount of coal we put in Almeida's train since the day we saw him. But I mean, rightfully
Yeah,
so, though, right?
rightfully so.
Rightfully
Yeah, we're not
so,
we're
though,
not
right?
geniuses here. Like, yeah. I mean, it's not
It's
like we
almost
had to.
it's
It's
almost
pretty obvious to see.
like I remember Shavkat's debut was the same card that Habib retired on, and I remember that because Shavkat he stood out so much. I remember like, oh, my takeaways from this card are, I like Dricus Duplessis. I can still remember all this. I like Dricus Duplessis. I love Shavkat. That's the actual guy that they should have been talking about that same night whenever everyone debuted, and then Habib retired. Those are like my three takeaways from that fight card. But it's just funny that I remember it so clearly. And Almeida is the same, right? Like his hype train
Yeah,
is memorable. You almost know when you saw him because it was so standoutish.
yeah, and then this jump that he made. I mean, the thing is, he's just like nothing's been close. Like nothing's been like he hasn't had his Hamzat Gilbert Burns moment yet. Like he's
Right.
still superhuman. He's still super. I mean, that moment will come.
Oh,
Now, I don't
it
know if it'll
always
be at
comes.
the
It
hands
always
of
comes.
Aspinall or Jones or Gahn or one of these top guys.
Well,
But
and I will say that for Almeida here, like
I, Gahn's probably not the guy to do it. But I'm just saying
no,
these top level guys.
yeah, and I will say, for Almeida, um, it's a tough division for him currently in heavyweight. I think light heavyweight he'd find all the success on earth and like literally would walk his way to a title. I'm just being honest because, I mean, as well as Pereira can hit, Almeida's not getting hit. He's not going to be there to get hit. Like he's going to get that takedown 100 times out of 100 on Pereira.
Yeah, but I mean, it's weird because we're viewing him as like a small heavyweight, but he
He's
is
a massive light heavyweight.
large man. He's a large man. I mean, he's so big, so strong. Hardly
He's
any fat on him at
you know
all.
what's odd is he's what you wish John Jones looked like at heavyweight, right? He's
Yeah,
242. Like that's what we thought John would look like. We thought he would just chisel himself out and go up like that.
Francis is gone. I mean, you do got Russian Francis, but Francis is gone.
I'm just like Almeida has the best wrestling in the not wrestling necessarily. I mean it might be right. Like
I mean,
he
yeah,
has that like Hamzat approach where like he's just such a freak athlete and is so strong and so fast and physical that he's gonna get those takedowns when he wants them.
yeah. So if you want to hear more of this Almeida stroke job, then keep tuning in for the main card episode. I think right now we're going to dive into these prelims. Stay on the channel. We'll get to the main card. We'll get to the main event. But yeah, we got these prelims to jerk the curtain with. And up first, I mean, to prove the depth of this card, I mean, Jessica Rose Clark has fought on multiple main cards, and here we have her jerking the curtain on the prelims against Tainara Lisboa, making her debut. Lisboa at minus 115, Rose Clark at minus 105. This was a no bet for me. I mean, Rose Clark coming in at 35 years old, has let us down a few times now, and
Mm-hmm.
then Lisboa, I fully will admit, didn't know enough about her. So this was, I mean, honestly, we didn't make it to the sports book, but even if we had, this was a no bet.
Yeah, for anyone wondering, well, they didn't make it to the sports book. We forgot the card started at 9 a.m. Pacific time, okay? It's a
Yes.
ridiculous start time for a UFC event, okay? So it's not our fault that we didn't get the bets locked
Yeah.
in before 9 a.m. Sorry about it.
Yeah, I worked till like 1 on Friday night too, so like it was just like, yeah, it was a gnarly turnaround for your boy. But yeah, man, we got this debut. We got the women's bantamweight division, and I mean, dare I say it, we may have an exciting bantamweight, which bantamweight has been snooze city.
Ah, I don't know.
I,
See,
I'm just saying, like stylistically, like she doesn't have that clinchy, snoozy Aspen lad ass style.
I think she is going to against better girls. Is my problem.
Oh, god damn it!
I
Forgive me for
because
my
like,
optimism.
forgive me for my
I'm
pessimism.
trying. I'm trying here,
I
bantamweight, the
mean,
women's bantamweight.
I
I'm
get
trying.
it, but it's just like it's JRC. And I mean, we can go round by round, but I don't really necessarily see the point of that.
No,
Unless you want to talk about the third round. I think rounds 1 and 2 are pretty much the
well, it
same
just
round.
Lisboa's kind of style. I mean, what I liked about her is that when I say she wasn't snoozy, whether it be in the clinch or when she got on top position via like judo throws, the ground and pound was active, right? Like
Yep,
she
and
wasn't
and her
laying in
takedowns
front.
were really active too. Like I liked the way
Yeah,
she was working for takedowns. They weren't super snoozy, like press you to the cage, grind you down, and sweep a leg out. Now, granted, I think she could do that, but to be able to hit judo throws and sweeps makes it look a lot better.
and the reason why I'm kind of excited for her as a prospect, I mean, definitely like lukewarm. I'm not trying to shovel too much coal here, but I mean, she showed a well-rounded skill set. Like in round one, she won kind of using the wrestling, the grappling, the ground and pound. And then in round two, I thought she won the stand up. And that, as I thought the stand up in round one was pretty much a toss up.
I agree.
And like it was pretty competitive. In round two, she was able to win some stand up. Jessica Rose Clark, Muay Thai background, like known as a striker. So, like, like I think she showed a lot, like skill set wise. Like she won on the feet, she won on the ground. She like, she didn't get
I,
beat in the clinch or
I
held against
honestly
the fence
thought
too
she
long.
was winning on the feet in round 3 as well, until Rose Clark was able to get the takedown, which, as I recall, wasn't like it was kind of a lucky takedown that Rose Clark ended up getting.
Rose. I had Rose Clark round and it. Now it wasn't by a wide margin, but I did think that she looked. I thought round three was Rose Clark's best round.
I mean, yeah, for sure. And I thought the ground and pound was strong. All that being said, the minute Lisboa gets away, they end up getting into a scramble sequence, and Lisboa gets to her back and chokes her out. So, regardless of even if our JRC had won all 3 rounds, she loses by submission here in the last 40 seconds. Tough way to lose. I will say she was losing the whole fight, though. So,
yeah, she definitely lost the fight. It definitely wasn't fluky. And it was, like I said, it's not like she was beating her ass in round three. She got that one nice ground and pound elbow off cutter, had some top control. But
right. It was visually a good round for her in 3 because she was able to get the top control and damage. And
that's 3 times in a row now she's been subbed. Her last win is against Jocelyn Edwards, who we're not fans of here. Win before that, Sarah Alpar. I mean, the OKC ties, but let's be real, in Octagon, not the biggest fan here. So that's the weird thing is Rose Clark, man. It was a purely like marketability signing, I think, with like the face tat and shit. Because she was 0-2. I just saw this. The reason why I'm saying that kind of hot take, I'm on her Tapology. She was 0-2 coming into the UFC. MMA wise, I know she had her Muay Thai fights, but she was 0-2 in MMA, got signed to the UFC, is now sub 500 in the UFC, moving to 4-5 after this one.
Yeah, it's I don't honestly understand it, man. It's like here's my point is that she has an 11-9 overall MMA record. That's one of the saltiest records you could have. And now in the UFC's defense, who's she fighting? A debut fighter that we don't know as the opening fight on the card. So like, if you lose that and you get finished, you get cut, right? Like, is that? I think that's fair to say. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, especially the age isn't working in her favor.
The gimmick isn't selling. I'll tell you that.
She's working her way down the card.
Now, funny enough, shout out to Michael. He did put JRC in the parlay, which if you notice, his parlay would have hit that $10 bet to win 120 if she had won this fight. No, I know that's not even close. But my point being is that Lisboa flipped the odds. It was the same odds, right? It's a pick 'em. So literally, if you just pick Lisboa with Michael's rest of his parlay, he would have had a plus 1,200 parlay.
No, and shout out to the third beefy boy out there, Michael. Appreciate you, bro. But yeah, man. And then, like I said, Lisboa, you know what? I'm gonna choose to be positive here. I'm gonna choose to be because women's bantamweight ain't giving me anything else, including this main event coming up, to be excited about. So
Fair.
I'm gonna choose to be excited about Lisboa. We'll see how far it goes, but as of today, she looks like welcome new addition to
You
the
know what I like
snoozy
about her more
roster.
than anything, and that we're going to get to later in this card, that was a problem I had with one of the fighters. She was clearly ahead, right? Like, I don't think there was much of a question that she was winning the fight up to that point in the third round. She could have just coasted, but she chose to go for a finish and, like, really, really fight for it. You know what I mean? Like, saw an opportunity
Yeah,
and, like, went for it. Like, could have just backed away and played it safe, but literally was looking to finish at all times. I like that. I like
yeah,
that instinct. I like to see that in a first. You got to be hungry. Got to be hungry. Now, I say we keep it pushing.
yes, sir.
Because damn, D-Mac had what we thought was kind of a hot take, but was just a fire take, actually.
Well, as I just get finished pounding my chest, I'm not going to stick my chest out too much on this one. I mean, it was a pick 'em. I mean, I liked Battle, but at plus 115, I'm not over here going to act like too much of a super
I
genius.
just hated
The
his
only
hair.
yeah,
I'll be honest. Like, I literally saw him cut his hair, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't like this." Like, I thought it was like a mentally weird thing to cut your hair off and then dye it blonde.
What's also what Gabe Green hates is strikers. That's why I'm not trying to act like too much of a super genius. He lost to D-Rod. He lost to Ian Gary. He doesn't do great against strikers. So it's like I just like picked up on that little minor trend there. I think that Brian Battle is comparable to D-Rod. Even if it's hindsight 2020, I think that is not too much of an outlandish skill set comparison. And D-Rod beat him. I like the matchup is all.
I don't hate that. I also think that you're right. Like, D-Rod beats Gabe Green. Yeah, I think Brian Battle could beat Gabe Green. You know what I mean? All the same. Not said that they're the same fighter, but I think Battle might be more of a dog. Has good striking.
Style.
Yeah, I think style matches enough. So
Yeah, for sure, man.
Good take on your part. Now, as it turns out, this is the 6th fastest finish in UFC history.
Yeah, see, at first they were saying it was welterweight history, but then they did a little revisionist history, and I think they went back and said it was UFC. So I'm still murky on that. Anik rarely gets one wrong. But when it first happened, Anik said welterweight history. And then a few times later in the broadcast, I think they corrected it to UFC history. Because, I mean, yeah, it's hard to imagine 5 faster in one division in 14 seconds.
Well, I know it's not number 1. I know what number 1 is.
Yeah, what is that? Is that Conor Aldo?
No, Masvidal. He is tied to the fastest knockout in UFC history. Yeah,
yeah, and that's welterweight as well. So
that's what I mean. I know that one's first. Like, I know what that one is. And then Conor Aldo is. Conor Aldo is actually like
13 seconds, right?
I think it's 13 or 15. It's like right around this one.
Yeah,
because it feels way faster when you actually watch Conor Aldo back. Because like in the moment with Conor Aldo, the first 10 seconds of a fight never feel like 10 seconds. Because you're so into, like, the movements. And then the first engagement, he pieces him, and you're like, that was like a 4-second KO. And then you look, and it's actually 13. This one felt like it was like a 20-second KO, and you look, and it was 14. Because they were just ripping off the start.
I like that take. I know exactly what you mean. Hopefully our viewers do as well. Because that made perfect sense to me. I know exactly what you're talking about, that little phenomenon that happens with early KOs. Yeah, no, this was, I mean, also Battle missed weight, 173. It's a bad look on a guy who's down from middleweight because they're not going to want to give you too many of those opportunities if you can't make weight. So that was kind of a bad look. But yeah, 14-second KO. You can't spend too much time talking about the missed weight. It was 173. It was 2 pounds. Not the most egregious weight missed. He tried. Yeah, we got a 14-second knockout. But, I mean, you may think the guy that won in 14 seconds was charging forward. Quite the opposite. Gabe Green kind of bum rushed him. Like, Gabe Green set the pace. Gabe Green chose, be careful what you wish for. He chose that action, like that style of fight. And it bit him in the ass hard. Like, I'm not trying to take away from what Battle did, but Gabe Green kind of did it to himself to a certain extent.
Gabe Green was all about that action. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally pressed him to the fence. I thought he was doing it to get close enough to suck down to the hips, try to force a clinch on the fence, limit the striking, try to make it a clinch, kind of a snoozy clinch battle, and then try to get Battle down and win.
Or even like a boxing range affair, because Battle's best weapon is his kicks.
Yeah.
I mean,
which he kind of did have him in the pocket, to be fair.
Yeah. Oh, 1,000%, a
But
thousand
Battle
percent.
just found that right hook, dipped it, and met Gabe Green's chin on just a straight line.
I'll say this: when they slow mo it, Battle's like in the pocket, like awareness
Yeah,
and
you
like
see
subtle
him
head
literally
movement.
like dip
Like
down with the hand come down at the same time, like he's loading it. It was
it
nice.
was
I was
good.
really
Like it
impressed.
wasn't fluky. Like it wasn't like close your eyes and pray. Like it
No,
wasn't like windmill street fight bullshit. Like
what
he
I
he got
even
out of the way of a couple and then came with it.
that's what I even like still was that he got hit a couple times but maintained the composure and movement patterns to be able to get that opening. Like that was what was really
Yes,
impressive.
no, super impressive for sure. And he's a North Carolina guy, so I mean, honestly, even on the walkout before the KO, he got a pretty big pop. I mean,
Big
what
pop.
was he? Was he tough winner or just tough finalist? Did he win tough? I always forget.
He won tough. He won tough because he was last
Yeah, he
pick and
won
won.
tough because he was like an underdog.
He was
Yeah,
the
so I
last
mean,
overall
yeah,
pick and he won tough.
obviously that's a good marketing vehicle for the UFC. They're in his hometown, but I think Dana was there live. I mean, he had to be sitting there in that crowd, be like, God damn, maybe this guy should have been on the main card because the pop was big for the second fight of the night.
Well, and he's been through Trayshawn Gore and who's the other guy that they tried to prop up as the
Petrosky.
Petrosky. Yeah, he's been through all the guys in his Ultimate Fighter class. So
Yeah.
like
And his only loss is to Fakrdinov, who I'm so high
yeah,
on
we're not
Fakrdinov. And he's a
Fakhretdinov.
and he's a dog for accepting that fight, honestly. So it's
Right.
like I'm not gonna hold that too much against him. He's a younger fighter, you're gonna take an L. Might as well to beat Fakrdinov, you know what I'm saying?
Brian Battle's a guy that for the welterweight division, I don't know that he ever gets high up there, but like a Brian
He's
Barberena,
D-Rod. He's the new D-Rod. I've been
yeah,
saying this.
he
D-Rod's
might,
getting older,
yeah,
on his way down.
he might even be a
Get
little
to
bit
it,
more
but
skilled than D-Rod. Like I could see in a year and a half's time, Brian Battle, Kevin Holland, just a fun fight.
yeah. Kevin Holland, D-Rod, I think that same level of guy, right? I mean, I don't think that's a hot take. Like the tier, they do like the quarterback tiers on NFL shows. Like I think they're
Buckley's
all
going
kind of
down to
the
welterweight.
same tier. Buckley has a banger coming out. He fights next week. Who's he fight? It's
Honestly, Buckley
oh,
Battle's a super fun fight. They both like to load that back leg kick up and come with straight punches.
I got to look this up just because it's going to bug me. But yeah, I mean, 14-second KO Battle. I mean, trending upwards. Only loss is a super quality loss. I mean, I don't think he'll ever. It's too late to like really round out the skill set. He's never gonna fucking beat Islam Makhachev. You know what I'm saying?
No,
But
yeah,
like,
no.
but I don't know. I'll better watch them kicks. And he showed that his hands have power. His previous KOs was kicks. So this was, I think, his first punch KO, or at least that I've witnessed. So
Well,
like,
how fast was his KO of the Asian guy? He had kicked in what 32 seconds or whatever it was.
I got it right here. 44 seconds. So, I mean, this
Yeah.
is proven to not be a fluky thing.
Well,
Like,
and also he sells. Like he has highlight finishes. He sells
Ultimate Fighter champion.
highlight finishes. It can do it with hands and kicks. I think Brian
Oh,
Battle's
no. That's who Buckley fights. That's a heater.
who?
That's Joaquin Buckley fights Andre Fialho.
Oh, Fialho, that's a heater.
That's a heater. Somebody's going to say, hey, hammer the under. I bet the under is going to be like minus 200. Like the under 1.5.
Or that's going to be one of
-200.
those bullshit fights where neither guy will throw on each other.
I'm erring on the side of under, especially with Fialho's chin got kind of potentially cracked a little bit. I don't know. I'm looking forward to that one, but that's next week. We're on this week's fights. Up next, we got number one bullshit fight. Number one bullshit fight.
Oh, number one bullshit fight, man. We will get to number one bullshit fight. We will get to number one bullshit fight. I don't know it's this one, but it's definitely this one. I forgot about how this one
It's
ended.
this one.
I just looked
Yeah,
at my
it's
notes.
this one.
I just
It's this one. Come on down.
All right.
This isn't number two bullshit.
No. We have women's flyweight, Ji-Yeon Kim, -230 versus Mandy Bohm, +190. Honestly, don't really like either fighter here. If I was going to bet, like if you had to force me to bet, though, I definitely would have taken Kim. I mean, just for the striking.
Yeah, I would have taken Bohm.
I just don't know if that juice is enough for me on Bohm in this. Like, I kind of need like a +280 on her here. I need a big ticket. Like, she just doesn't have good striking.
Not. However, she has a way better record, and I believe is younger. Not
Well,
33, so she's no spring chick herself. But
here's the other thing I'll say. Jiyeon Kim is uncoachable, so I'll never bet on her again.
no, I learned a lot about
Learned
Jiyeon
a
Kim at a
lot.
state,
Like, learned so much that I'll never bet on her
and it's
again.
that her own coach hates it.
Yeah, and like,
Rightfully so, though. Rightfully so. I'm not saying the coach is a bad guy. John Wood, I believe, is the coach,
yeah.
and he's a good coach, and he's like a super supportive guy. And
Let me crack this door
blow
for my
his
dog.
fucking top.
But all right, so like, here's, gosh dang it, sorry. All right, there we go. Here's what I'm saying, is that Jiyeon Kim honestly had all the tools to win this fight.
I just looked at something. I just found out something about Jiyeon Kim. I knew she had a salty overall record. I never had taken the time to look at her UFC record. 3-7, bro. What is she doing here? Why is she on my TV screen?
Well,
7. Fuck out of here.
this is once again one of those fights where like a girl might be getting cut. Okay, that might be the case. Now that being said, Kim rocked Bohm. I mean, 10 seconds into the fight, like had her hurt.
Got to go round by round. Becomes uber important.
Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. So let's dive into it. Let's dive into it, and then we can talk about overall implications.
Yeah, because well, you are talking about it. The wobble. Kim wobbled Bohm with like what I think it was a right hand.
Yeah, it's just straight right, like within the first 10 seconds, like literally first engagement, like boom, 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 pow, rocked her.
Like almost a delayed reaction, like Johnny Walker type of thing.
Yeah.
Like where she hit it, and then neither one of them realized how hurt she was. Then, like 2 bad steps later, we all became aware of like, oh fuck, Bohm is a nut hair away from being out on her feet here. And then Kim, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, kind of engages it and like engages in the clinch right after she's like really hurt.
Rocks her and then tries to like realizes it too late, tries to rush on her. Bohm by that point has recovered enough to have her legs underneath her, shoots a double leg and takes her down immediately.
That's right, which
And
was honestly pretty sick.
It was a nice move, but it was like it was almost like Kim, you had her hurt. Like if you just followed it right there, she doesn't have the wherewithal or the strength back in her legs to try to get that takedown. She might drop to a knee, and you might get like on top, like in a mounted position. Instead, you took that extra second. She got her legs set, saw you rushing because you got overzealous because you realized it late, and then you got taken down. And she gave her back almost immediately.
But I believe later in the round she was able to recover the position and spend some time on top herself.
Within 1 minute, all that happens in 1 minute, and then Kim gets a reversal within a minute 20 of the round. So within a minute 20, we go from Kim rocking her, getting taken down, giving up her back, to reversing it and being on top in 80 seconds of time.
Yeah, so like I don't know. I scored that round for Kim. I thought when the start of the round, the damage was by far the most impactful moment of the round, plus her ability to recover. If she spends the whole rest of the round on her back, maybe not. But she was able to recover the position.
She technically had more control time at the end of the round by like a solid 40 seconds, 45 seconds roughly. And I thought like definitely did the more damage. That was the hardest strike of the whole fight in retrospect. But at that time, I mean, that's the most damaging moment of the fight, too. So I scored it round 1 to Kim. I didn't think that was that crazy. Now, 2 judges score it for Bohm.
For Bohm, which is a little tough for me. I'm not going to lie. It's a little tough.
Mike Bell and Junichiro Kamijo.
So those are Vegas judges. I mean, they're well-known judges. So, I mean, I don't know. I disagree with them. I mean, what? Bohm got the takedown. Did she even get really any ground and pound off? Not a lot. Nothing too crazy.
No, not a lot at all, man. Like, very little damage. And honestly, it was like close on the choke, but could never get it fully sunk. So, it
wasn't that close.
That's like holding your opponent on the fence. I mean, that's no damage. Yeah, it's just holding a position.
No, for sure, man. I saw it the same way you did. I think giving that round to Bohm is a little out of line. And unfortunately, this is the last round without a point deduction.
No. So I had to look this up. The point deductions occur in round 3 because technically the whistle is blown at 2 when the first deduction occurs. So it has to occur in the next round.
Really?
Yeah, that's what took so long with the scorecards. All the judges had taken the point in this round, but the ref,
in round 2.
But the ref took the point after the round had ended. So therefore the point taken is applied to the next round.
So round 3 had 2 points deducted.
Yeah.
That literally changes my scorecard.
Well,
I know that. I
yeah.
didn't.
Okay, yeah, it does, I guess.
Wow, this is blowing my mind. I mean, just the numbers. They're like,
Yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you.
yeah. All right. Well, in that case, I went 10-9 round 2 for Kim. I thought it was
Me
going to
too.
be 9-9 due to the
Me
point
too.
deduction. But after this new revelation, I don't know if any of y'all watching have figured this out the same time I am. Thanks for Harrison for breaking that down for us. But I didn't understand that myself. So shout out to you for that. So yeah, I went 10-9 Kim. Now this was the closest round of the fight. Because excuse me, sorry. Bohm was able to keep it much more competitive on the feet.
Yeah, actually, like learned how to strike in round 2. It was very odd.
Kim had the top control, and Kim had the submission attempt at the end of the round, which was super close. I think
The
Bohm,
guillotine
you
was
could say
super
Bohm got
close.
saved by the bell.
Mm-hmm.
So
Agreed.
for that reason is why I gave it to Kim for the guillotine. All
Now,
an answer, like throw on it. Guillotine was so close, saved by the bell. I didn't think Bohm did really enough to win the round on her feet. She just was able to keep it close on the feet. Like she didn't get outclassed.
I agree. So all the judges agree here with us as well. 10-9 Kim. Now, oddly enough, I think every judge, including me and Dominic, scored it 9-9 because we thought the point that was taken would be applied
Yes.
to this round because after the round ends, both girls are kind of sitting in that I guess basic Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guard position where Kim's on her back, Bohm's in the guard on her knees, about to get up, and Kim just kicks her in the chest to like get her off of her. Clearly, you can't do that. So striking after the bell. So the ref stands her up, takes a point.
Yeah, that was wild. That was wild.
And I thought a point should be taken too. I'm not even going to play like.
Yeah,
Can't
no,
do
the
that.
point deduction wasn't wild. Just seeing that happen and like, out of all the fights we watch and all the chippy fighters we watch and all the tough guys, Jeon Kim is the one that does like the dirty after the bell kick. Like that. I don't know.
Well, I feel like she got like
weird.
dirty, like that whole like at post that point, like it seemed like she just like threw everything out the window, quit listening to her corner. It was just like I'm just like gonna fight a street fight, and just fought dumb.
Yeah, she was doing the exact opposite of what her corner said. Like pretty much
Literally.
the whole fight.
Okay, so we get to round 3 because our scorecards are still technically unaffected, although this round starts at -1 for Kim. So like you have to keep that in mind. It's so weird.
Yeah, this gets a really weird number for me.
Yeah, me too. And then you have Kim essentially winning the start of the round, getting Bohm against the fence. Bohm puts her arms down and is clearly a grounded opponent. Like isn't like kind of playing the game of moving her arms up and down. Like has her palm down and is standing
Fuck
there.
that. She is playing the game. But
I mean, she's playing the game
of
but
the
it,
UFC.
But it wasn't like Musasi where he would like literally like tap his hand down and like pull it up and tap his hand down and pull it up, trying to bait you into illegally striking him.
No, not that far. But I've come full circle on this. I used to not be in need of the grounded opponent.
Oh, I am fully. After watching one,
yeah.
Fuck that. Defend yourself.
Yeah, that's not in the Aljamain Sterling shit and this shit. Like, that's not fighting.
Also, people won't sit on the cage like that if you can knee a grounded opponent because the minute they get like shucked down a little bit and their opponent can jump with a knee, like if you look at Mighty Mouse and Adriano Moraes, they would literally like bounce off the fence and be scrambling to get off if it did not want to be there.
No, you're right. And like when they're truly grounded, like I don't mind like the hand on the floor type of ground. That's why I don't even think that should be called grounding because I don't necessarily love like the ground and pound knees to the head. Like I'm not the biggest fan of that. There's an argument for it, and I'm just saying like, but this bullshit, the Aljamain Sterling, fucking Mandy Bohm. Oh, I'm gonna have one hand down because it protects me. That shit should not be ruled a grounded opponent. So I don't think actually I'll change my tone. I don't think we should allow knees to grounded opponent. I think we need to change the definition of what is a grounded opponent.
I agree with that. Like, yeah, like two hands on the floor. You know what I'm saying? I think you need to.
No,
be like,
not even hands. Fuck the hands. Like your body weight, like knees on the floor. I think is what we need to go to. Like two knees on the floor.
Well, I'm just thinking like if you like went down on both your hands and then someone like kneed up right there, like That's gonna
No,
suck a
I'm cool
lot.
with that. I'm cool with that. But if your knees are on the ground, I don't know, bro. Because that's still the same game. They're still gonna play the
But I
same
feel like
game
if
if
you're
it's
getting
two
shucked,
hands.
then you're just gonna dive your knees down and like still play the game. Like we either got to allow it or we don't, you know?
You're right. Like Aljo did.
Yeah, like
Aljo
I
was
think
on his
dudes are gonna
knees.
play the game always if you give them any sort of rule by which to play.
Because I just hate. Like I understand it's put there with good intentions, but it's used and abused. It's
The
like
only
just
ones
like
I
NBA fouls. Like James, it's like a James Harden hooking your arm. It's
yeah,
like manipulating the rules in a way that's not beneficial to the game, and the NBA
well,
changed that.
the only ones I hate,
Or
I
the
guess.
three-point shooters jumping in and landing on the
Yeah,
ankles on purpose. The
yeah.
NBA changed that. Like this is like I think the UFC's version of that.
But I will say the only time I don't like it is when a guy is like rocked and like clearly is finished, and then a guy like is standing, has time to recognize like, oh, he's on the ground, like, isn't getting up and like dives in with a knee to the face. I'm like, oh my god, you didn't even need to do all that. But I guess it is the name of the game.
It's the name of the game, and like I said, I don't know. It's hard to verbalize. Like it's hard to like be the lawyer that writes the exact sentence that goes in the rule book. But we all know the difference between somebody who's on the ground and somebody who's standing with arms touching the ground. Like where your weight is being bared by different. Like
It's almost like I don't want to see
if
like
you're being
knees.
held up by your legs, like is the mat holding you
That
up or
okay?
is your
That's what I'm
legs
saying is
holding
when
you
you
up?
can't stand, I don't want to see you get kneed in the face when your legs don't work enough for you to stand. Like if you get rock so hard that you can't stand up, I don't want to see you get kneed in the head.
That's what I'm saying. It's hard to verbalize, but if you ask a little kid who's 3 years old, hey, is that person on the ground or are they standing? They can settle this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, is somebody's weight being supported by their legs still, or are they like in this? Are they on the ground or not? Like, I don't know. I just think we've like overcomplicated the whole grounded opponent. Like if your legs are holding up your weight, but your fingertips are scraping the ground, you're not grounded.
Well, that's essentially what we get here. To get back to this
Yes,
fight,
yes. Thank
is
you.
that Bohm is literally like playing like fingertips to the floor. Granted, she isn't like I said, moving her hand up and down and like skirting the fence. She's literally statically stuck there, not moving, looking at Ji
But
Young
that's her
Kim.
defense. Her defense is my fingertips are on the floor.
All right, but that's the rules. Like that's it's point fighting.
Yes, yes,
it sucks, but that is what it is. So we just got to go with it, and by going with it,
yep.
Ji Young Kim goes with it, and by that I mean she just throws a knee to the face. Just literally looks at her and is like, "Man, fuck it. I don't like you. I kicked you in the chest. Already lost a point for it. I might as well keep doing illegal shit."
It was bizarre because it wasn't like a super gnarly, brutal fight ending knee to the head. So it's almost like Peter Yan Aljamain Sterling, he saw a chance to win the fight and took it.
Bohm literally
This,
aljoed this and almost fucked herself too. Like almost screwed herself because it ends up being not like although it was definitely an intentional knee. I don't know how the ref said that was an unintentional knee. She definitely meant
well,
to throw a knee to the face.
I'll give the argument here of unintentional. I'll give the argument, and I'm not saying it's a good argument, but it's kind of the point I was already making. Why would you knee to the head without fight ending intentions? That wasn't like a fight ending knee to the head. And I'm saying it wasn't intended to be. Like she didn't try to like take her head off. It was kind of just like a snoozy clinch knee that just went to the head. There wasn't a lot on it.
All right, but like
And so what I'm saying is like, why? Like, what's the motivation? Like, I know what Peter Yan's motivation was. It was to knock Sterling the fuck out, which he did essentially. This was not that, and I'm not saying she should get away with it. I'm just saying it from like a confused perspective. Like, what was she trying there? Which leads to the whole maybe it was unintentional. Because why the fuck if you're gonna knee your opponent in the head, like why? Like you're like it's a fight ending like move, right? Like you weren't just like a pitter pat little knee to the grounded opponent head. Like what's to come of that? Or was she like, is this some James Krause shit? Like what's happening?
let me put it this way to you though, right? Like because I think as a linebacker you can definitely relate to this. Let's say you're jamming the hole, right, and the running back's coming through, and you stick an arm out,
Oh yeah,
and you just he runs in your forearm, face mask, right, and your hands out, so you just it just grips, and the ref sees it. You get 15 yards. You didn't even mean to do it. You didn't even really know he was going to be there right then at that height, right? You were just throwing an arm out off the block to try and catch him. That's fully unintentional. You're still getting 15 yards. Sorry about it. Now let's go with the example of dude's out in the flat, you're running up, he gets stood up, and you go and dive on him and literally grab him by the helmet to pull him down. Still 15 yards, but like you clearly meant to do that one.
Yeah, and I would only do that if I was like literally trying to hurt a guy. Which
I know,
leads me,
but I'm saying it's 15 yards. It's not more than that or less than that.
It's the same 15 yards, but this we're debating intentional versus unintentional.
Right. Like, so I'm just saying that, like, why is the punishment different is my question.
Oh, now that's a very good argument. I was just arguing, like, could have been unintentional. Why that's applied differently, I understand your point. Yeah. Sorry, it took me a second. Like, how that's adjudicated, I agree, is kind of ridiculous. Like, if you, like, in any sport, you foul a guy in basketball, oh, I didn't mean to. Hey, don't really give a shit.
How can the ref judge intent? That's a hard thing to judge.
Yes, especially in the moment, or like, you know, offensive lineman gets called for holding. Oh, didn't mean to. I was going for the fucking shoulder pass.
It's like I hold every play. Like, of course I meant to, but like I didn't mean for you to see it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, and it's the same 10 yards. It's the same 10 yards.
That's my thing. Is like the intentionality of it doesn't really matter. It's a foul either way.
I actually agree with that overarching point. So we end up here. So I'll ask you this year round. I mean, it's a minute and 55. So this was also the weird thing. We end up being forced to score a minute and 55 seconds of not much happening. The only thing that really happened
was the knee.
Foul.
And like it doesn't count, right? Like that doesn't count.
You cannot score it. But what I scored, I guess, was Kim having her against the fence.
Me too. Octagon control, literally.
Which is the lamest way to. So I scored it. I guess is what.
You scored it 28-27 G on Kim, same as me.
Is that how we get to? Because wouldn't it be 2 points are deducted from Kim and 2, right? So if she won it in 10-9, oh, 3, that's what I meant.
But still,
so if 2,
so she loses 8-9, but wins rounds 1 and 2, 10-9 and 10-9. So she was up 20-18 in our card going in. So she gets 8, and Bohm gets 10. So she ends up winning.
It's 9.
Or she gets 9, I'm sorry. Yeah, so that's why.
7.
Yeah, so
27. 27.
Yeah, exactly. So one judge agrees with us, Bobby Harris. Shout out Bobby Harris. Because Kim won all 3 rounds, let's be honest. Now, as I said earlier with my overarching point, I think Kim just deserves to lose by DQ. That's really how I see this. Is like this should be a DQ win, DQ loss, really, for Jiyeon Kim. Because, like, you're not winning if your opponent gets DQ'd.
You could argue we're splitting hairs here, but I don't think so. I think there's winning a DQ and winning a split decision. Ask Aljo.
Yeah, winning a split looks way better for Bohm, to be honest, too.
Yeah.
Because when we look back, we're like, oh, she got the split decision win. We don't look at it as like, oh, she got a DQ win. Like, oh, her opponent just landed an illegal strike and, like, got disqualified from fighting, so she won default.
That makes way more sense. That makes way more sense. Well, and it's also, like, honestly, bro, Bohm won one position of the whole match.
I know.
That takedown in round 1.
That was it.
She got reversed on.
Right, within a minute.
Like some 50-50 striking exchanges, which really neither lady won, which is kind of impressive because Bohm was thought to be not as good of a striker. But, like, that's still not a win. Like, she was, like, even. So, like, Kim 1,000% won the fight, but also deserved to lose it. So I'm
so glad you say that. Like, Kim deserved to lose, so I'm glad she lost, but she won the fight. It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing.
For sure, bro.
Yeah, and you know. So I threw a text up where, like, you were watching a little bit behind, but caught up to live by the end, right? Well, so me and Mike were watching live, and honestly, the card was fire up to this point, and then this literally this fight like marred the card for so long because like this was a 20-minute ordeal we had to go through, and the next fighters
there was 2 commercial breaks. Judges scored it out.
Yeah.
Or like hashed it out.
And then Bruce Buffer had to start just writing it with like a Sharpie on a piece of paper to figure it out. Like it was like, this is insane.
It was a shit show. It really was. It was unprofessional. The reffing was unprofessional. The production was unprofessional. It was especially for UFC on ABC. Granted, the prelims weren't on ABC. Thank God.
Yeah, they got saved by that.
Like that, this was a bad look. Like this looked like some amateur. Like I'm going to the King of the Cage fights next Saturday here in Reno. Like I would expect some shit like this here, there.
Yeah.
Like on the UFC. highest level. Come on, get it together. Like you got to be prepared for. Like NFL has some weird things. There's somebody somewhere has the answer for it, and it doesn't take 2 commercial breaks. Like it was very like it was not a most
Yeah, like
professional
they'll
look for the.
call the goddamn office, like the league
Yes,
office, and literally be like, "What's this
yes,
call?" And the league office will be like, "Here's the call." It's that simple. Like I don't know. And the
yeah.
UFC has refs that sit at octagon side. They have the commission of the state sitting at octagon side. Why aren't all those people sitting there just talking it through? It's a 45-second conversation, is it not? Is it not?
Yeah, well, because even us, right? We ended up with the same scorecard. It's just you swip where the point comes from.
Yeah,
So
yeah, right. Like the total points doesn't change, right? The only thing that
yeah,
changes is like it's an unintentional strike as the ref rules it, which is crazy to me. Like she definitely meant to throw a knee to the head.
I'll push back there. I'll push back there because I think if she meant to, it would have been harder. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't make sense. I just think that if you're gonna do like an illegal knee to the head, like you get your
No,
money
I'm just
for it. You
saying
don't throw.
like did she mean to throw a knee to the head like regardless of how much power she put on it? Yes. Did she mean to throw a fight-ending knee? No. Is it an illegal strike that would end the fight because she threw it? Yes.
Yes, yes, and that's where we come together for sure. But man, let's keep it pushing, not the sake of beating dead horses. Because honestly, next fight was
Banger. Cody Ige. Let's get to him.
fight of the night. I haven't looked at the bonuses
I
yet,
got him right here.
so forgive me for that.
Did
Because if
not.
it not, like it, I mean, could have. I'll throw it out there. Could have got fight of the night for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, I thought
we actually don't get a fight of the night. Four performance
so. It was
bonuses.
fight of the night.
I mean, technically, but
I mean, and for all, from in my eyes,
yeah, 100% it was fight of the night. But I'm just saying, like bonuses, like they didn't get
no,
a
yeah,
fight of the
no,
night
you're right.
bonus, which is
Yeah,
sad
for
because
sure.
it low key deserved it.
Deserved it is my point. Yes, 1,000% agree. We got Cody Stamen minus 155 taking on Douglas Silva de Andrade, is our favorite salty dog. Always love a
Oh,
D Silva.
you mean
Like,
Douglas D Silva de Andrade? What a fucking
oh,
name, dude.
fucking dude! I went from hating this guy to loving this guy.
Yeah, he's a dog.
Oh yeah, I love. Like I literally, I'm not just saying this to like sound like a hardcore or anything. Like I get so juiced when this guy fights. Like when I see his name on a prelim, because it's always on the prelim, and you're like, all right, this is a prelim. I'm not gonna have to like get through. Like this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, like Dan always says that if you don't know, now you know. And like, granted, he always does pick a fight that almost seemingly always ends in a finish, which like, hey, let's keep our eyes on that for betting. Shout
Yeah,
out.
you're right. You're right. You're right.
Somehow
You're right.
the owner
Yes,
of the
sir.
company is always telling us what fight's going to end in a finish. That's so weird that he would
Yeah.
know. Shout out my tinfoil hat. Yeah, so this is a fight he could have chosen. I honestly think because like as good as both these guys are at wrestling, they both love to strike. They both love to throw power shots, and they're both bantamweights, and they're fighting at a catchweight. So not cutting the extra 5 pounds probably means they're going to be
Yes,
extra juiced.
I didn't know that until literally the tail of the tape.
Yeah, me
and I was
either.
like, oh, these guys are getting 5 extra pounds. It's going to be
Right.
that much better.
Right.
Yeah, I got like excited. Yeah. Which actually, so I think Silva de Andrade is a bantamweight that was probably stoked to not have to cut the 5 pounds. But Stamen announced he's going up to featherweight, which don't hate. I mean, don't
He
hate.
must have felt really good at 40, and he thinks that with the extra 5 pounds, like he can feel really good on fight night, which I don't blame him. Now, can he feel good enough to make better decisions? We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I guess water on the brain might help with that, perhaps. But yeah, let's get to it because I mean, decisions aside, it was a razor close fight. Like rounds 1 and 2, I legitimately thought could have gone to either guy, and I'm excited to see how you scored it.
So I thought I definitely had leans. I thought 1 and 2 were close, but I kind of leaned a certain way in both rounds.
Yeah, man. I guess I'll go first, man. I got a 110-9 Stamen. I thought his activity and pressure. But see, this is why it was hard to score. I thought the damage was pretty equal for each guy, and they each had 1 takedown. So but like Stamen was moving forward a little more. So like I had to go to like tertiary measurement, which is why I said it was like a nut hair close. Like they each got a takedown. I thought like overall roughly gauging like damage wise was kind of a toss up. because like Stamen probably landed more, but D Silva hits way harder.
I
So
think,
like I thought,
yeah. So I'm totally with you on the damage. Like I don't know who did more damage at all. Like I think that was a
yeah,
full toss up. I think Stamen controlled the octagon more, so I will give you that
yeah,
tertiary measure. And I probably like as far as like just scoring on points might lean that way, but I thought D Silva finished the round really strong. And with that finish, I don't know, I kind of just leaned the scoring to him. So I went 10-9 D Silva.
Well, we also got to talk about more shitty refing that happened. So Stamen gets kicked in the head while he's down.
Yeah,
They were
upkicked.
both down, and D Silva up kicked the grounded Stamen. That 1,000% should have been a point deduction. 1,000. Okay, worst case scenario, right? That Stamen at least gets top position back, right?
See, that's what I think is he
So
should have been given position back.
at the very least,
Yeah, I don't know
he
about the
got
point because it seemed really incidental because it hits the chest first, but it's like the toes at the chest and the heel hits the chin. So I gotta almost take a point, and if I'm not gonna take a point, I gotta put
hard. Like it was a damaging
yeah,
up kick.
oh yeah, and like if I'm not gonna take a point, I definitely have to give this position awarded, and that's literally how the rule
It's
book
not that
reads: is that like if you take the point, you stand them up. If you don't take the point, you award the position.
you don't just double hose the guy, fucking DP the guy.
He's actually
Uh,
we'll get to it when we read the decision of this, but there's an appeal on the decision here.
oh, there is.
Officially,
Okay.
yeah, like already submitted same night of the fight.
Well, okay, and like I said, I thought Stamen got hosed there. Like I thought, I mean, he might have got hosed twice, but yeah, we'll keep it pushing. At the end of the day, no point deduction. Stamen wins the. Well, I think Stamen wins the round. You gave it to D Silva. Razor close. How'd you score round two, bro?
So round two, it's really weird because like Silva started really strong. Like I thought, continued what he ended in round one with in round two. Then he started eating some big shots. I thought from Stamen midway through round two, got rocked. Granted, I mean survived it really well and then closed out the round really well. So it was almost like
Silva
Silva
has a
had.
chance.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. It's almost like Silva had a good start, good finish, and Stamen kind of won that middle part of the round.
Yeah, you're right.
I leaned to Silva again, oddly enough.
So I leaned Silva in two, so you're definitely not a crazy person. His body work was so dope. I
Yeah,
love those.
and
I'm a
that's
big fan of punches to the body. Like I think just like a visually, like it just looks so sick, and it's such like a skilled thing. And you know it's setting up shit for the future. And you know, I don't know.
his
I'm
leg
just
kicks were
such a
good
big
too,
fan.
and his head work. I thought he was getting work off on all three levels. I was really impressed with his like diversity of strikes.
No, and I think like all the best strikers go to the body. They
Mm-hmm.
do. So
Shit, Poirier makes his bread
but
and butter off
well,
body shots.
punches to the body. He landed a couple head kicks too. So punches to the body, kicks to the head. I mean,
And
that's a
kicks to the
lot to throw at
legs.
a guy. Yeah, kicks to the legs. Now, Stamen landed some good shots on his own. Like you said, he did kind of rock D Silva as much as you can rock that iron chin of his.
Well,
Um,
as much as you can rock it, we'll see in the next round, I think.
yeah, you're right. You're right. Good
But he
point.
was starting to find like that range and the timing on his right, which like Cruz was talking
uh,
about in the first round. That right
yeah,
was really close. It was just barely missing. In round two, he landed at that one time that hurt him, and then in round three, he started to find a home for it.
definitely. And but also there was like a difference. Like when except for that one big one, when D Silva would get hit, he would kind of get out of the way with it, roll with it. Like his striking defense was pretty good. Like I thought better than Stamen. Like when
I agree.
Stamen caught one, he
He'd
caught it
eat it.
flush. Yeah, yeah. Which I factored that into my scoring kind of maybe more than some. Um, and so yeah, we both gave round two to D Silva. I think that's a good indicator that he won it. How are the judges seeing this, by the way? Sorry, we haven't really mentioned that.
So all the judges have D Silva winning rounds 1 and 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I'm just a Stamen mark
Granted,
over here. I guess.
no Vegas judges in this one. This is all 3 North Carolina judges.
All the Mickey Mouse judges. Now round three, as close as we've described rounds one and two, I thought round three was like the most violent round. It was a war. It was so entertaining to watch. And I mean, I think round three is really the only round with a clear winner, and I think that's Stamen. The
Oh,
knockdown,
he
the
gave
damage.
himself though. Like, and here's what I have in my notes. Right, is that like I even have round one was very close. I have it 29-28 D Silva, but I could see a split decision here. Now that being said, Stamen obviously wins round three. almost 10-8s him if he can dominate the whole entirety of the round and not let D Silva recover that last 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Which I think was on the table with 90
He
seconds to
probably
go.
would have finished him.
That,
he could have got
that
the finish.
is what I'm saying is he decided to play grappling. Why? D Silva was so hurt he barely could stand. Like, if you make him stand, and he was eating shots, like the right was tagging him. He'd already landed a couple before that nuclear right came in. It was like, I was screaming at my TV, stand up, bang with him.
DC was too. And, like, I'm sorry, like, when DC, like, the most wrestling, like, leaning guy
saying,
to ever exist.
Stand him up.
Yeah.
It's like, you gotta stand him up.
Fumbled that one, E-gated it, as we like to say on the show, for sure. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. See, you gave him round 3 though, right?
Yeah,
you did
for
or
sure.
no?
Stamen,
He gave the fight, but won the round. Yeah,
hell yeah, he almost 10-8'd the round. Like, he almost could have got the draw here.
Yeah, you're right.
He could have got a draw or a finish if he pressed the gas with his hands.
You're right. He chose to go like snoozy wrestling on.
It's almost like if he does anything but wrestling, he doesn't lose the fight, right? Like whether it be win or draw, he doesn't lose.
Yeah, you're right. Like even if it's like a million calf kicks or something, like you can play it safe, body kicks. Like no man, I feel you. Except for I don't feel you because I thought Stamen won the fight, man. I liked his work in round 1. I don't think giving him round 1 is crazy. Now, I also thought he should have been taking a point. So maybe I'm talking out of both sides of my neck. But I think if you don't take the point, I think he wins round 1. Like you even kind of admitted it. Like the takedown was even, the damage was even, but he was winning the tertiary measures, man. I don't know. I mean, by definition, going to tertiary measures, it was close. Like I get.
Well, I think it was like the visual impact of him winning the last 45 seconds. I honestly think that's what, because like the refs don't have any numbers and they're watching just literally octagon side. So like that visual ending to a round is super important every time.
But either way, honestly, I'm stoked that Silva de Andrade got the win. Like I said, as a fan, I like him more than Stamen. So, like, I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to, like, be
Well, I think the fight's
here,
so close that it's not really a robbery for either guy.
No.
And if anything, I'm left just thinking, like, Stamen, you got to have better fight IQ. Like, you got to realize when a guy's that hurt and step back and fucking hurt him again. Because Silva Andrade is known for getting finished like that, too. Like, he will keep trying to bang with you even when he's fully rocked and you can put him literally out.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, you're right. But, yeah, let's keep it pushing here. We got Carl Williams versus Chase Sherman. Carl Williams, huge favorite here at minus 410, taking on Chase Sherman plus 330. And I got a couple takes here because I'm super out on Chase Sherman, have been for a while. Decently high on Carl Williams, as is Vegas.
Still?
What I'm saying. Thank you. Thanks for you're picking up.
I'll fill in that hole for you. I already know.
Yeah. It's just like to look like that against Chase Sherman, who I think any heavyweight worth his salt, like any guy who has like a
Chase
future,
Sherman if you're good.
Yes.
That's literally the test of heavyweight is like, can you finish Chase Sherman? Like, do you have outstanding? That's like the power test in heavyweight is like Chase Sherman has a solid chin. It's not amazing. He's like kind of like Sam Alvey. Like that's literally how I picture.
They're the same guy. He's heavyweight Sam Alvey. Yeah,
right. Where I'm just like, okay, he's gonna hang his chin out there. He's gonna throw bombs. Like it's your job to evade bombs and land a missile that puts him out. Like you have these opportunities. It's right in front of you. That's why this fight is here. It's like it's a test for you. This was the Carl Williams test. He did not pass it very well. He wins the fight. I'm not even gonna like belabor that point, but it's the least impressive win.
No, for sure. I mean, Romanov, who we're cooling off on, finished him in 2 minutes. Hell, Jake Collier finished him in 2 minutes. Parker Porter. I mean, so actually, in all fairness, Chase Sherman does go to a lot of decisions, but it was a close decision, I think, is what we're getting at here. It was a very close decision.
But the decisions he's going to aren't the guys that are world beaters. Like, when he fights world beaters, he gets finished.
You're right.
That's like the test is like, if you can beat Chase Sherman, like, yeah, you can be in the UFC. I'm not even going to argue that Carl Williams doesn't have the skills to at least be in the bottom end of heavyweight, and that's a division that needs those bodies. However, like after that
I thought he was going to be a guy.
Yeah, he lacks a lot.
No, for sure. And like round 1, he looked good. You know, he got the takedown. Actually had some pretty dope ground and pound, got it off. But Chase Sherman, for like the first 3 minutes of the round, it was kind of a 50-50. He was mixing it up. It was pretty even. I mean,
Right.
nobody really won the first 3
And
minutes
was
of the round.
showing pretty good takedown defense, which I thought was sapping Williams' energy more so than Sherman's.
Percent agree, 1,000% agree. But Williams still probably did enough to win the round.
For sure.
Now, round two, Chase Sherman won it with the calf
The
kicks
low
for
kicks,
days.
man. Which also, like, he kind of egate himself in the third round because he didn't keep throwing low kicks, and the low kicks were literally spinning Williams around. If you can spin a guy around, guess what? He can't strike at you. So, like, why not offensively defend yourself?
Down, you know what I mean?
It was like the biggest misread, and that's why Chase Sherman is like one of the lowest end heavyweights. Is like lacks IQ, lacks any measurable like anomaly. Essentially, just has a chin.
Yeah, his game was an athlete, you know, whatever. Big guy, yeah, heavyweight. It's like mid heavyweight for sure. And then, well, round three honestly just sucked. Like as a fan, it sucked to watch. I literally have the word sloppy in my notes for both guys. One of those rounds where it's like, oh, I guess I got to give this to somebody. I don't think either guy really did shit.
It felt like neither guy wanted it because I felt like the guy that wanted it more could have had it.
I thought Williams probably won like the first minute of the round, I guess if you want to say damage, and nobody really did shit for the next 4 minutes. So I gave it to Williams, as I think the judges clearly did too. But
one judge gave him every round.
Gave him every round, which I think is wild.
Yeah, two judges, yeah. Which both those judges were, once again, North Carolina judges. The one Vegas judge gave round two to Sherman.
What the fuck did Williams do in two?
Absolutely nothing. I don't know how you scored two for him. He's literally getting turned around with leg kicks that are hurting him so bad. Like, is that not visible damage?
Like, I barely gave him three.
I know. Like, I literally wrote in my notes, like, if Sherman did a little more, he could win three.
Like, three more of those calf kicks land, he probably wins round three.
It was, like, shocking to me, man. I could not believe what I was seeing.
It was bullshit. It was number one bullshit. Actually, no, it wasn't number one bullshit. But, because I had it 29-28 Williams, but the 30-27 almost made me want to die on a hill. Like, seriously.
Right. Like, this can't be a 30-27. Like, this fight was way closer than 30-27. And, like, if you're trying to put Cole in a hype train, like, because Dana told you to, shame on you, because that guy didn't deserve it.
No. And that hype train isn't like, it's Romanov all over again. Like, I'm not going to fall for it.
Yeah, I won't.
I'm not going to fall. I'm not going to get Romanov again.
Won't do it.
Like,
you know what?
No, for sure.
Let's not give him any clout. Let's keep it pushing. Yeah. Let's get to the featured bout of these prelims. Some legendary welterweights here. Matt Brown.
Featured prelim. Like the featured prelim, I wouldn't even mind if it's just like a legend fight.
Just like legend fights always. Yeah, like I don't even hate that at all. Like a free legend fight, like to end the card every time. Yeah, it's kind of a fire take actually. I love that. But here we got the immortal Matt Brown plus 190 against Court the Crusher, Can Crusher before fights. Court McGee minus 225.
Well, these guys are both tough champions, right? I know McGee is.
Yeah,
I think
Court
Matt
McGee
Brown
like season 11, and I think Matt Brown like season 2 or 3.
3, I think.
Yeah, it's like, Jesus, you guys are old. Matt Brown, 42. Court McGee, 38. Super weird whenever the 38-year-old's the younger man in the fight and clearly looks like it.
Yeah, and this is one. See, I should have tested my gut on this one. So we didn't bet any fights, but I kind of like the Matt Brown plus 190. Not necessarily that I was super bullish that he would win, but I thought it was a toss-up. I don't think Court McGee is 2-1 better than him. I'll tell you that much. And but I was like, all right, he's so old. Is Matt Brown you always have to wonder, is it his last fight? It's just so tough to bet on like a 42-year-old welterweight who's been in wars.
For me, it was a styles thing, right? Like, I thought Court McGee was just going to get that grindy wrestling, press him on the cage, suck him down to the ground, sit in his guard, not really do much, kind of just win out rounds that way, and be able to survive the on the feet instances. Now, that being said, I was very wrong because Court McGee is doing that for the first 2 minutes, making a snoozely wrestling clinch. As soon as Matt Brown is able to separate, they kind of get back to the feet, striking, moving around. Within 45 seconds of it, he finishes Court McGee with an insane right.
Yeah, drops him, walk off, like Sugar Sean.
Walk off, like literally didn't even consider punching him again. Court McGee didn't even consider getting up. Like if you watch it, he literally slumps to the ground, And then he just like looks up and puts his hands up on his head and is like, "Oh, that fucking hurt."
He was toast. That was the second fight, or no? There's another one later in the card where like the fighter has to like stop their own fight.
This one though was like very acceptable.
Took a second. The ref was like down for Court McGee to eat some shots.
I think the ref was surprised at because I was surprised, right? Like that was a short right from Matt Brown. Like I didn't think he had enough space to load up a right that was going to do that much damage, and like he just landed it as Court McGee was stepping in. So it was almost like the combined force of like, you know what I'm saying? Both objects going this way.
Timing.
Yeah, literally timing. Like timed it perfectly right on the jaw. Like clipped him in. Beautiful shot. I mean, this one was one where I was like, Matt Brown probably could have put another punch on, but like, how fast can the ref get there when it's like a shocking drop out of nowhere? I kind of got this one. Now we'll get to later.
See, I thought this is how I remember. Maybe I need to watch it again. My memory's telling me Matt Brown drops him. It was like a pause. Like it could have happened. And the ref stops it when he's like, I don't think the ref stopped it until Matt Brown like walked off.
Well, yeah, no. So what happens is like Court McGee like drops, and you see his head like slam the canvas, and he like looks up, and by that point, like Matt Brown like looks at him and just turns and starts to walk away, and Court McGee like puts his head back down, and that's when the ref is like walking up to stop it, and it's almost like at the same time, like the ref at the same time as Matt Brown, at the same time as Court McGee, like all three realize in the same moment, like, oh, it's over.
Yeah. I think Matt Brown knew first, I guess.
I think Matt Brown knew first, too. Because I don't know that Court McGee really knew where he was.
That's what I'm saying. If Matt Brown, it was up to Matt Brown whether or not 2 or 3 more shots landed. It wasn't up to the ref.
100%. But, like, we see that all the time with guys that get starched, right? Like, and oftentimes the guy doesn't have, like, the nuance.
And I'll say that. Seeing that clip, I forget that I'm not a boxing guy, clearly, but there's, like, a boxing terrible stoppage that's, like, going viral right now that's, like, really horrendous where like a guy just eats like a normal punch and the ref runs in and stops it. So definitely I guess this system's better. I just got the vibe that Matt Brown decided when this fight was over. But regardless, fantastic fucking knockout. Gets a performance bonus. Ties Derek Lewis for the KO record, which is pretty impressive. I mean, like, you look at Derek Lewis and you're like, oh, yeah, that looks like a guy that would have the KO record. You don't necessarily look at Matt Brown and think that's the guy that has the KO record. So
yeah, no.
Awesome. I mean, I think that's even cooler. Definitely a longevity record. But, hey, in football and every sport, we love longevity records. LeBron's scoring records, Tom Brady's records.
Jerry Rice, almost Wayne Gretzky.
Career record. Yeah, it's
Cal Ripken. That's literally, that's the definition of a career record. It's just games started in a row, because that's not even stats, bro. That's just like, you showed up. Congrats.
You showed up to work. Yeah, exactly.
You know how many blue collar guys are like, this motherfucker gets an award, meanwhile I haven't taken a vacation in 8 years?
See, I thought it was the opposite. Every blue collar guy is like, that fucking Cal Ripken. That's how they all need to be.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
That's
their hero. Right, that's the blue collar hero. Like, man doesn't miss a day of work. Just lunch pail and boots every day. I respect him.
Just like me.
We're the same guy. Me and Cal Ripken.
Fucking go O's. I'm gonna eat a crab cake.
Go O's.
But
crab cakes and baseball.
I just one quick little Matt Brown little whatever before we wrap up this prelims. So I obviously my Twitter algorithm has a lot of MMA shit in it, and I kind of hate it, but like Twitter will like send you a notification if like something like relevant to you.
Oh yeah,
and it's and so I literally, my phone goes off in my pocket at work. I look at it. It just says Twitter, Matt Brown, let's fight for it. And like, I know this sounds like ridiculous. For like a split second in my brain, I was like, what, does Matt Brown want to kick my ass? That's terrifying. I got a little bit scared. For like a half a millisecond, I was like, I don't want to be beaten up by Matt Brown. That sounds terrible. But like, I don't know if you saw him and Conor McGregor was pretty much saying like, Matt Brown's 40 on some Conor McGregor Twitter shit. Just like, if Matt Brown's 42 and get the record, I'll surely hold that record one day. And like,
Oh my god, it's the saltiest Connor approach too.
and then Matt Brown tweeted, like, quote tweeted it, like, let's fight for it. Which, God damn it, let's not make that fight
Yeah,
happen.
absolutely not.
But
Absolutely
I was just
fucking
like,
not.
there was a
Absolutely
fucking
not.
a half a like 0.2 seconds today where I thought Matt Brown was gonna kick my ass. So that was a little scary. But
That's
besides
hilarious.
that,
I guess in wrapping this up, I do want to ask: did you see the trailer for the new Tough season with Chandler and Connor?
all I saw was 82 DeSantis commercials.
Oh
But
my god, they were paying a lot of money last night.
dude, them DeSantis donors reached in the bags.
That's that ABC
fuck
money.
with your boy. Fuck with your boy. But sorry. Yeah, guys, we're a sports show here. Sorry, we're a sports show here.
They
But
know that if they know that like UFC
that's the fan
is
base. That's
known
the
as,
target
like,
audience.
hard right wing Republican base. So
leaning hard right like a curved penis.
But yeah, I just want to get your take on like on Connor and Jesus Christ.
Dude, honestly, you don't know my real take, especially based off Connor's creepy drunk uncle picture that he took for the promo.
It's so
that picture
good.
creeped me out. Like, that picture asked me if he could walk me to my truck after the club. That picture.
Yeah, that is that guy spying on your girl.
Like, dude, that picture made me uneasy. But honestly, though, like, I don't even know if this is considered a hot take. It seems like the common sense take. If that fight happens, which that's still if you ask me, if that fight happens, Michael Chandler like beats the dog shit out of Conor McGregor.
Give me Connor inside it too.
Dude, you're like, I'm literally like mortgaging the fucking. Dude, I'm putting up the pink slips on the whips for fucking. Dude, like, bro, Conor hasn't been sober in like 5 years, bro. When's the last time you saw?
When was the last time John Jones was sober?
I think at this point, Connor's like worse than John Jones. I really do. Maybe he just has his phone out more, so maybe we're just seeing it. Like, legit, if Conor was my friend, like, even non-athletic, like, if I had a friend that was like hammered drunk every time I saw him, I'd be like, hey, bro, like, this is unsustainable. Like, and I say that as the guy who's drinking right now. Like, there's a difference between like having a couple of drinks and like, this guy's probably not going to remember this conversation every time I see him. Like, Conor hasn't been like less than blackout in front of a camera. Like, I don't know the last time. What's the last video I see? John Morant without a fucking pistol, smoking a blunt, or Conor not pissed drunk. Like, I just like, bro, I'm telling you, I know there's guys. There's John Joneses. There's guys that party and compete. Conor's like full blown. Like I got a cousin like Conor. Like, I worry for her health. Like this isn't gonna last too long. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, Conor is pissed drunk every time we see him, dude. Like, dude, Chandler is like, every time we see him, he's in the fucking lab.
Oh my god, dude, it's so funny. Like, even when they're talking shit to each other in that opening trailer, and he's like, what was the Mystic Mike prediction? And Michael Chandler's like, oh yeah, finish you in the second round, like hit you with the hard shots in the first, get you out of there in the second. And Connor just goes, yeah, I'm gonna pin you. I'm like, you sound hammered.
He was hammered. That's what I'm saying. He's been hammered all the time.
Dude, and then he's like, I'm gonna pin you. This is my game. This is my game. I'm like, are you just talking to yourself?
The best line, when I thought he actually literally owned Michael Chandler's nutsack, when Chandler was like, we can do it at 85. He's like, you'll do what you're told.
Yeah.
Dude,
Connor goes, I haven't told you we're doing it at 85. And Chandler's like, you want to do it at 85? I'll do that. And he goes, you'll do what you're told. And you can tell, like, Chandler, like, hated it, too. He's like, oh,
he was like, you're fucking right. Fuck. You're fucking right. I will do what I'm told because I need the bag.
Yeah, like, do what you're told. I just love that.
That was the best Conor line since Who the Fuck Is That Guy? Like, legit. That was epic. That was so good.
Broken leg, your wife's in me DMs is pretty good.
But Conor was 1,000% drunk in that clip.
Oh yeah. You can see it in his eyes. He's literally just like sitting there like wobbling.
Bro, like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, this is like athletics. Like, this does have to do with your body. Like, it's not a skill thing. Give me Conor's skill set. But if you're telling me one guy's like literally just like hammered every night, and one guy trains like a madman with like NFL athletes,
Oh, bro, you're out on him because he's an alcoholic? Michael Jordan runs one of the best shoe brands on earth, and he's an alcoholic.
that might be the better comparison. But Connor's not though. Like Connor was losing before he was hammered every night.
I know, that's the
I think in
problem.
the first, like in the second Poirier fight, he was like going this hard. And he still lost.
I know. That's the problem is that, like, he found way too much love for the liquor whenever he bought a liquor company. And it's kind of fucked him ever
Yeah,
since.
no, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like he's literally just like a walking bottle of whiskey. He's not like a world caliber athlete fighter. Like I don't think.
You ever seen when he drinks Black Forge Stout with people and they try it for the first time?
Yes, because that's all he posts.
Well,
That's what
dude,
I'm saying.
he always makes him drink a third of the fucking pint in the first drink. The first drink, he always starts going below the label, below the label, and like he's like talking about you gotta drink it below like the bend in the glass, and it's like, really? Do I, or is that just how you drink beers?
When it's like, dude, like love to be that guy drinking beers with Connor, drinking whiskey with Connor.
Yeah.
What?
What?
But like,
what?
but like I'm saying, like just be that guy. Like be the rich drunk whiskey guy. I'm not trying to bet on you in cage fights anymore. I'm sorry.
Well, and you're in luck then because the odds, dummies like me are gonna pour their money into Connor, and you're gonna get
Yes,
rich man's odds on Chandler and not deserve rich man's odds, but you're gonna make a new mortgage, you know?
I'll do it. I'll do a straight bet on Chandler, and I'm gonna do Chandler by KO.
Sheesh. Looks like I gotta do McGregor by KO. And McGregor and all my parlays.
I just hope you're as hammered as Connor is when you make that bet. That's all.
Oh, trust me. My weekends are free after the month of May, so I'll be live watching, drinking that sweet Irish gold, that apple.
Well, guess what?
That proper 12 Irish apple.
When it comes to that bet, I'm going to pin you.
Woo, it's smooth.
All right, bro. Yeah, let's wrap this one up. We'll be back for the main card. Episode 130 of the Beefy Boys Breakdown. Like and subscribe. Check out some other videos on the channel. We never miss a card. Beefy Boys Breakdown. Yes, sir.